Well, it's been an interesting day online, to say the least. Late last night, we had Sony put out a press release in the PlayStation blog saying that they were going to be raising the price of the system in different regions all across the world. That's the main story for Newswave tomorrow, so make sure you tune into that 8 a.m. Eastern Time. That'll be Friday morning. But it looks like Microsoft has actually responded to this move by Sony, and it's not too surprising to hear this because I figured as soon as Sony had announced this, the press, different outlets, they would have certainly reached out to Microsoft to see what they were going to do here and if they would also need to raise their Xbox pricing. Well, we'll take a look at what they had to say. Guys, if you enjoy these videos, make sure you hit that like button. Helps out a ton. And if you're new here to the Spawnwave Plus channel, make sure you're subscribed down below. We'll head over here to VGC. They had the quotation from a Microsoft spokesperson where they say, "We are constantly evaluating our business to offer our fans great gaming options. Our Xbox Series S suggested retail price remains from £249.99, and the Xbox Series X is from £449.99. So the Series S is like $3 or $4 under $300 US, if my conversion in my head is right here. And then for the Xbox Series X, it's like $525, $530, something like that. So it's a little more expensive there when it comes to like the MSRP here in the US for the Series X, and a couple of dollars cheaper there for the Series S. Basically, though, Microsoft's going to hang out. Like, in their mind, sure, in the back end, it could be costing them more. In fact, there were rumors going around that Microsoft was purposely spending more money to secure chips for these systems, like so they could get more and more of them out there. And that's why we were starting to see more Series S systems show up even on store shelves. That to this day is still the only system out of the 2 PS5 SKUs and the 2 Xbox Series SKUs that I've seen on store shelves with the Series S. Still haven't seen a Series X, still haven't seen any PS5 systems. But we saw those come back in stock pretty frequently there for a run, and that was the rumor going around. Microsoft was already in their mind it's worth buying and spending more money on these parts to get these systems out there, while Sony is kind of spinning their wheels trying to figure out how to get more stock without spending too much money on these parts. And with Microsoft already doing that, in their mind, hey, just us standing still and keeping the price the same kind of has that effect of, oh, it just looks cheaper now because Sony has gone above that suggested retail price on their end with a price increase in many different regions around the world. Not in the U.S. There's a couple of reasons that are being pointed to there. Could have to do with competition, could have to do with the stronger dollar. But again, we'll talk more about that tomorrow in Newswave. It's been a weird generation. I think that's putting it mildly. I mean, we're to the point where we don't really see these systems in physical stores, retail stores, and probably still won't see it this holiday. Maybe next year we'll start to see that happen. But I can't really remember a time. Okay, maybe there was one. In Canada, the PS4 did go up in price, but that was like one region, right? Like here, Sony just basically named everywhere except for the US to raise prices around this. This is not a normal thing, and it seems like Microsoft obviously realizes that in their mind. They're going to take advantage of it and say, nope, the Xbox Series X and the Series S, these are systems that offer a lot of value, a lot of gaming value for your money. That's kind of been their whole thing so far this generation. Ever since they really went all in with subscription services with Game Pass, saying you'll get the day one releases there when they eventually come out. It hasn't been a good run for Microsoft recently, but when they were releasing stuff like Gears, right, and Forza, and all, like they were going into Game Pass. Halo Infinite's campaign, like, yeah, I know there were people obviously back and forth with opinions on it, but for the most part, you went through Game Pass and you're able to get it rather than have to go buy it in the store for $60 or whatnot. So now Microsoft would have the cheaper console when it comes to like their top of the line systems. I know the Series S has been the cheapest system, or at least cheapest way into next gen for a while now, but you compare the Series X to the PS5 and yeah, the Series X is cheaper. And then you also have the option of technically saving money with Game Pass. If you're someone who would buy 3 games throughout the year, then yeah, Game Pass would make a lot of sense for you since you would have more options at about the same price. And I did see some people say this looks kind of like with arrogant Sony from the PS3 days, but even with the PS3, Sony was eating a lot of the cost of that system. It wasn't until later on when we had a lot of the financials that we could look at it and say, wow, the PS3 was actually costing them more than that $600 mark to create they were just eating the cost of it for the long term, which ended up working out towards the end of the PS3's life. It eventually outsold the 360 by like a small amount, but it still was able to do that. Even so, though, they have some very famous quotes of like, if you want the PS3, people will get a second job to do that. And that's kind of what's being brought up now. And yeah, I'm a little surprised that they didn't get more creative with this price increase. They just said, yeah, it's just going up. That's kind of it. It's just more expensive now. And in Microsoft's case, this is where they get more creative on their side to add more value, because the more value they add now, as Sony is going the opposite direction, the better it'll make the Xbox look. And I think right now, this is kind of the start of that with this basic quote from the spokesperson here. We're going to see what Microsoft has to offer, I think, going into the holiday and then also into next year, where they can really start to hit Sony pretty hard, especially after that Activision deal goes through. It's not a great look for Sony today, and seems like Microsoft is kind of working to twist the knife a little bit. But let me know what you guys think about this situation down below. Do you think Microsoft is going to hold true to this, where they are just going to leave the price alone? Do you think they'll go the opposite way, where people are saying online, it'd be funny if Microsoft actually dropped the price of these Xbox systems? I don't really think that's necessary, because just kind of standing still, they're now the cheapest system when it comes to the Series X and the PS5. Thanks, guys, for watching, and I'll see you next time.